In this video, we're fishing with flying seas, something I have a lot of experience with. Stay tuned for tips and tricks, catching salmon, as well as some underwater footage.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So basically, I've had a few questions about how to catch salmon and how to fish the flying sea. And a lot of the fishing you see on this channel is me basically working out as I go along, so I like doing all kinds of fishing. But spinning for salmon, specifically on smaller rivers, is something that I know the best of all the different disciplines of fishing. So yeah, I feel like I might be able to offer some advice for this one. But don't worry, if you know well how to fish the flying sea and fish for salmon, this video is not going to be a full tutorial. It's going to be me fishing and also explaining a couple bits of sort of my preferences of how to do it. So if you haven't fished with flying seas or for salmon at all with a spinner, there's quite a few little tips and tricks to help you get fish. I can really boil those down though to three main ones. So the first one is you want to be fishing it upstream. So that's the main thing. There's a few lures that are designed for fishing upstream for salmon. Salmos, I think, are also one of them, but you can swing that too. But flying seas, they fish far better when you cast them upstream. So basically, you want to be walking down the pool and casting further up to then bring the lure right back into the fish's face, and then just basically try and get them to snap at it or move out the way, since obviously they don't eat in fresh water. The second one is you have to make sure you're using the right flying sea. So you get them in all sorts of different colors and different makes, but if the water is low, or at least has maybe a foot of visibility, I'd be fishing with a black jacket and a silver blade. If it's any more colored than that, the only other color I really use myself is yellow with a silver blade. You also have to work out what weight you want. So if it's a small river and it's low water, you might be talking 10-15 grams. If it's a bigger river, you might be talking 20-25. Or if there's a lot of water on, when I'm using a yellow flying sea, I'll quite often, even in small spate rivers, I'll be using a 20-25 gram flying sea with a yellow jacket. And the third one, this mostly applies to smaller rivers, not so much on bigger rivers, but you want to be keeping mobile. You want to be moving down to different pools, even if you know there's fish in a pool. The pool behind me right now, I was down here for a walk a few days ago, and I could see all the salmon. There's a good few in here, and a couple quite big ones too. But even though I know that, I'm not going to be spending all my time fishing this pool, because on a bigger river, you'll have a bigger shoal of fish, and the chances of one of them being a taker is a lot higher. Down here, if you have a fair sized group of fish, like in here, there's maybe 8 or 10, I think. The chances of one of them being up for taking a lure isn't massive. So if you keep on moving, you have a higher chance of coming across a fish that's willing to take. You only need one that's ready to take a lure. Even if there's a pool full of fish, they might not be interested at all. I've had that plenty of times. So you want to be keeping mobile and fish the same spot for, I don't know, in small rivers, maybe 10-15 minutes, not very long. Just give it a good hammer through, as long as you're fishing, casting at the right spots and at the right depth. The weight of the flying sea also matters to make sure that it's coming in at the right depth. When you cast up, you want to let it sink till it's at the bottom, and you're bringing it right back into their face. It's not really any use if it's hovering above them. They might come up and take it off the surface, but generally they're just going to be nicking at it whilst it's coming past their face, and they can't really avoid it. A lot of the times though, they'll just move out the way and go back to the lies and stuff, but sometimes they take it, and that's what you want. So we're going to jump down in here and have a few casts in amongst all these fish. We might move one, we might hook one, we might not see anything, but there's definitely fish in here, so we're going to give it a go. Okay, so I don't know if you can still see the rings, but a fish has just moved just as I'm walking down. Oh, really quiet through the water. Now the fish, there's hardly any water on. You can probably see right through the water. I can see pretty clearly because I've got my polarized glasses. It's a good tip, always have polarized sunglasses with you. The fish are going to be lying up here. Oh, there's one right there. I don't know if you just saw it turn on that side there, but that still looked quite silver, that fish, which is good because it's October now. But they're going to be in the back third mostly. When it's this clear, we've got a good chance of seeing them follow it in. The flying sea is good for getting them to move and to follow your lure. So hopefully we can see that today. But basically, I have a 10 gram flying sea on here. It's dead light and bright blade, and I'm going to be casting it upstream under that tree, letting it sink, and I'm going to be winding it just enough where it's not getting snagged but it's not at the top of the water either. It's going to be near the bottom. First cast, don't let that sink too long. That's your danger with fishing this. There we go. Not very discreet in fishing method when you get snagged like that, but oh, fish just, I don't know if you made that out on the camera, fish just darted up and touched it. I just felt the slightest tap for my line there. That's another good tip there, use braid. You can feel everything. That was quite a small grill compared to some of the other ones in here. And I just touched it and I felt the gentlest tap. You never would have known if I hadn't seen it, you know? All right, we'll try under this tree. So you notice I'm here, I'm not casting upstream, but sometimes you don't always have that option when you're wanting to cover fish. Get underneath any structure like that. You can't always cast straight upstream. Your chances are higher when you can.
Following my third rule, I keep moving, walking further downstream and crossing the river to fish a pool from the other bank. My first few casts at the top of this pool were unsuccessful, so I moved further down. In this pool, you can see that the main flow goes around a rock, making a slightly deeper hole just in front of it. We want to be retrieving our lure through the bottom of this hole. A couple casts here yielded no fish, so I took a few steps to my right to change the angle of my retrieve.
Oh, there we go. Oh, where did that come from, eh? That's just a wee guy. Oi! This could be a sea trout actually, I can't tell yet. Nah, it's a girl's. There we go. Tiny fish. But it's a fish. See, it's crystal clear in here. I never saw it. Just shows you. It's a wee grouse. Happy to bump into him though. Put him back. Now, in pools like this, there's only really two methods that you can fish. One, oh, there's a salmon right there. I don't know if you can make that on camera, but let's do it and zoom in on it. Now, there is a salmon lying right here, but most of the fish are going to be right up against little sort of rocks here, right? So basically, there's only two ways you can fish this, really. One would be to drop a static bait like a worm into the top, but you can't fish them just now. I don't really like the worm too much, to be honest. Or the flying sea, or salmon, something you can cast upstream. But because there's quite a lot of flow, it can make sense to opt for like a 15 gram instead of a 10 flying sea, something that's just going to help you get down to where the fish are. I'm just standing back a bit because this fish is quite close. My first few casts are really going to have to count here. I want to bring it right back into its face. That was so close and it doesn't care at all. It's often what you find with salmon. Oh, there was a fish right there. Oh, there we go. That's that same one. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's a decent fish. Oh, that's pretty rocky in there. Oh, come on. Oh, there's another fish there, swam past it. Come on, turn yourself. Oh, I think I need a bigger net. There we go. Oh, yes. And the hook's out. This one's a little bit better, especially from a small river like this on the flying sea. We're gonna put it back now. Yes! Whew, so I'm so glad we got that. We've got the wet sleeves of success. I think that fish took because the water temperature. I think a lot of times they're not as inclined to take, but that one, it's just cold enough that it's a bit more willing. Now, there is some exceptions to these rules. One of them is the casting upstream rule. 95% of the time that's true. Well, it's always slightly true. But in the little pools, little lies like this, right opposite this tree, there's a lie. It can be slightly harder to fish casting straight upstream. So you're still casting upstream, but standing closer to the spot, cast upstream, and the flow brings it through the lie quite nicely. And sometimes when that flying sea turns, it encourages a fish just to hit it if it's pulled off its lie. Just like this. If I'm going to get one from this pool, I think it'll be here. Yep, that's him. Oh, he's way up on the bank. Oh no. Come on, don't hurt yourself. Fish.
And now for a short drive and another walk to fish my next pool.
Now our final pool here is an absolutely beautiful one. You can see there's some rocks that come out here. I can see them under the water. They come out to about here. And there's a bit of streamy, slightly deeper water in here, with the deepest spot being around here in the middle. Now, problems with really beautiful pools like this is swimmers, both the human kind and the dog kind. That can maybe move fish out of the pools, but it looks like, if you can tell from the beach there, it has quite a lot of footprints from people on it, so that kills a little bit of my hope, but we'll try it anyway. Fish lying in a pool like this will be in three kind of main places. One will be in the faster little channel under here. The second spot is going to be in the deepest spot, just on the drop off of the ledge. You can make out under the water here. And the other spot, which maybe they won't really be at today because it's a bit low, is right at the tail of the pool. So that's really the three kind of key areas we want to be concentrating on. But because it's quite a long pool, that whole ledge, right the way through into this side and this side, is worth a cast. It's perfect for the flying sea because you can stand down at the bottom and cast it up and fish this whole bit. So we'll get down there and have a cast. Okay, so we're going to start right up at the top. It is quite low, so there might not be as many hugging in this small stream. But casting upstream, I'm standing further down from where I'm fishing, and I'm just bringing it back through. It's so crystal clear, I can see it like the whole way. So you'd think if I move a fish, I should be able to see it. That's right where I want to be, right in that channel. Now the fish I had earlier was in a little channel like that, and it was even shallower than this by quite a bit. So assuming they haven't been spooked out or anything, shouldn't be a reason why you don't get them in here. Oh, I think that was a rock. If you're buying flying seas, I would highly recommend you get the MEPS ones. They spin far better, they are a better size, they're more expensive, but you're wasting your money with some of the other ones. I would always recommend the MEPS. Now here's the tail of the pool. As I was saying earlier, it's a bit shallow for a fish to be lying here, but you do sometimes get them, so even if you don't see any, just putting your flying sea through it might move a fish. It's always worth a shot. But now I'm further down, I can fish this whole pool. Another good spot is right here, right where it starts to shallow up. And quite often be fish lying in there. So when I'm right at the bottom of the pool, I'll be covering the deep bit, as well as when it starts to lose a bit of depth, and that's often a good spot. Oh, there's a salmon right there. Oh, there's two. See what I was just saying about it being a good spot at the tail of the pool? There's two lying maybe not even 10 foot out, and I only saw it because it moved, but I can still see its tail. They're right tight on the drop off. They're right here. So that's way too far, so I'm going to bring that back. So I'm about square. No, that was rubbish cast. One of them looks like a stick. I was looking at it earlier, thought it was a stick, but then it moves, you know it's a fish. So another reason why the flying sea is so good. This is a really hard angle to get them at because they're so tight to this ledge. But you don't want to cast two in front of them because you'll spook them. So a bit upstream, let it sink to get your depth, and just bring it back along this ledge. That's coming perfectly. Oh, I bumped something there. That's actually quite a big fish. There's two so super close together. They're basically touching. They are touching, I think. Well, these fish aren't taking anything, so I've tied you onto a stick, and I'm going to try and get you a little view of them. So I might just spook them straight away. Well, that was an awesome look at that fish. I just watched the GoPro footage back. Pretty cool. I love that. I almost prefer it to fishing, but not quite. But anyway, that's us walking back home now. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. I mean, if you've enjoyed it, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. I really appreciate that. I hope you find this useful or enjoyed the action, because it's been a pretty good day. A lot of hours have gone into salmon fishing for me this year, just like every year, and I think I've had 7 now. So if you work that out by the amount of time I've spent doing this, it's not that many. But I'm happy with 7, like, you know. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.